Okay, so we look at the Forza Motorsport 7 demo at 21:9. Another Forza game is soon to release, this October 3rd to be exact. This series seems to have millions of varieties and spin-offs to it. Apex and Horizon 3 were not that long ago released, so I'm certainly hoping this isn't a money grab, simply creating a game for the sake of it, but using all the same mechanics of titles like Horizon 3 with no innovation. But before we look at that, let's go over the ultra-wide support. And amazingly, really totally to my surprise, the game does have 21:9 support. It's ridiculously basic, with literally only gameplay and a few cutscenes supporting the extra screen width, but it does look fantastic when it's working. Sadly though, the HUD sticks to 16:9 and every menu and most cutscenes are indeed 16:9 with black bars. Performance-wise, things are good. I'm afraid due to UWP I can't show the FPS counter, but from what I can tell, I stayed above 60 FPS the entire time, through heavy, graphically intense moments. But yeah, that's an annoyance having that 60 FPS cap. However, Microsoft have said future updates will see that cap removed. Now, if that means the launch of the full game will start with no 60 FPS cap, or that we'll have to wait for a few updates to the game before the cap is removed, I don't know. But yeah, all in all, I was running highest possible settings with ×2 MSAA on a GTX 1080 Ti at 3440x1440. It's not a fantastically optimized title, but you should be able to run this well across a wide range of systems and have it look good whilst maintaining a high frame rate. General PC support wise, it's not all that good. The game is locked to the Windows Store like I said, actually it's been rebranded over the last few days to the Microsoft Store, but regardless, it's as terrible as ever, and I'll continue to say, needs a ton of work before it's nice to use. Why they can't just release it on Steam like they did with Quantum Break in the end, who knows. At least though, on a positive note, like all UWP games, the software is lovely in that any graphical changes are immediate, so there's no restarting required. The drawbacks of the software though are still far too great, such as no modding ability. Some lovely news is that there is HDR support for those of you with such screens, and there is even cross-platform play between all Xbox One consoles and PC players, which is something we must always push for. It's lovely playing with friends, regardless of platform choice. I must also point out the epic trigger vibrations are of course back, thanks to its Microsoft development, and once again, I'm frustrated so much that other PC games simply haven't got this implemented, as it's amazing feeling that feedback. You really feel the rush of your tyres hitting water for example, or the strain of the engine as you accelerate away in ways you wouldn't feel otherwise. A few issues with the demo I ran into that I should mention. You must sign in with your Microsoft account into Xbox Live, and of course I had trouble doing this the first time. I had issues with the mouse cursor not disappearing until I nudged it every so often after entering menus then returning to gameplay or tabbing out of the game and then back in. There was some graphical glitching with textures failing to stream in fast enough, the graphics menu bugged out at one point and reset all my settings after I restarted the game, and the game tries to show you stuff whilst things are loading in the background, but what this does is just have what you are looking at jump around in a slideshow at times. I'd rather wait a few seconds for things to load than properly watch what they wanted to show me, rather than watching a stuttery mess. Now, on the point of gameplay, it's the same to me. I've said this before, I'm not a die-hard racing fan, but I have played a lot of racing games and spent a lot of time with them, but generally don't find myself jumping for the next racing game with massive eagerness, because the racing genre feels so very samey with each title. I, for example, have yet to see a hugely compelling reason to move on from Project Cars or Dirt Rally, as competition has yet to, personally, step up later games with game-changing additions. And I'd say this remains true for this game. It's not that it's a bad title, not at all, it's a very competent and large racing title. I mean, there are bloody 700 cars in it. But from a gameplay standpoint, it isn't head and shoulders over other racing titles. It simply appears to be sitting alongside them. That said, I must say I love the new dynamic weather system. Having rain pour down randomly mid-game and create puddles that genuinely impact driving control is great. But yeah, it's, from a standpoint of someone who isn't an avid fanboy of the racing genre, racing games of the last 3 years have been relatively stagnant in what they have improved. And that's not exactly the fault of the developers, and it's not a bad point against racing games. It's more a point that racing games have been done so much and so well and in so many variations that it's extremely hard for innovative ideas to come through. It really is a question of what can be done in a racing sim style game that hasn't already been done. Anyway, just to highlight exactly what Forza Motorsport 7 does bring to the table, in case it is just that time for you to move on from whatever racing game you've been playing, it contains everything you would expect to see from such a title. So, tons of racetracks have been confirmed, multiple race types and tons of vehicles. I'm sure they'll each handle in unique ways. Certainly the two cars and the truck in this demo handled very differently to one another. There are tons of settings you can play around with to customize the experience to your desire. For example, tuning the amount of brake assist or driving assistance, clutch, etc. Even down to the fact that you can change the friction differences found on different surfaces. So if you want an easier experience, the friction would just maintain the same level on all surfaces. But to make things harder and more realistic, you can make it so every surface will differ greatly in your grip on it. The game is also graphically beautiful, certainly one of the best looking driving games out there as well, which is lovely. Of course, that's the entire point of this being a highlight launch title for the Xbox One X. The demo has no customization, but again, that's confirmed to be in the game, obviously. And yeah, there isn't really anything glaring that's been missed out. You can be sure you know what you're getting with this. Overall, this demo appears to be a good taste of what you can expect from the full title. I love seeing a demo as well, as we too infrequently get this small preview to a game nowadays before you chuck down all your money, so big props to Microsoft for that. I would say certainly download and play the demo and get a feel yourself for what it plays like. There's no sense in buying it outright before you've played the demo, as it's totally free. I'm going to give this a WAF score of 2. Microsoft touted 21.9 support before launch and still claim it has support, but 21.9 support doesn't mean just gameplay supports 21.9. There's a lot of other stuff in the game that needs to be factored into the equation. So yeah, it's nowhere near a full score of 5. So I hope that gives you some information how the game runs at 21.9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful and subscribe for future info. For any of the games at 21.9, head over to my channel or the WAF website. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to support the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description and Amazon affiliate links are there too. See you later.